I am getting ready to make breakfast. Hey world, my name is Ashley. I make travel videos, cooking, and lifestyle. Hit that subscribe button. So, what we're gonna do, I have some potatoes and put them in the refrigerator. Don't just cut them and put them in the refrigerator. Stick them in a little bit of tiny sea salt water because guess what? That helps them not to turn brown. So, potatoes, I may have to chop an onion. So, I'm gonna make some breakfast potatoes and some grits and some salmon croquettes. Good old country breakfast. So, my husband is home from work today. Well, actually, we both are. So, I'm going to make favorite breakfast. Ooh. So, let me get everything together and let me show y'all. Because I haven't cooked on my channel in quite some time. I know y'all. But we're going to do that today. Hey guys, so I'm starting off with 1 can of wild-caught salmon. I found this can in particular at Aldi. They'll be a little bit inexpensive there, or you can buy them in bulk at Costco. At the store, you're going to pay about $6 to $7 for 1 can, so take my advice. So putting it all into a bowl, I did drain my can first. I'm going to add cornmeal. I'm going to add some flour. You can add any flour of your choice. So get that all in there. Like so, like that. And then I'm adding a little bit of sea salt. This is totally optional. And then we're going in with some pepper. Yep, just a little bit, just a dash of each. A little bit of crushed red peppers, just a little bit. And I use whatever I had left in the bottle. Also, this is some salmon seasoning that I discovered recently. Yes, so maybe you'll find it at your supermarket. I was very generous with this stuff. It's not salty, so you don't have to worry about that at all. So yeah, we're gonna take 2 eggs. I like to break them up in a bowl or a cup or whatever you have to do that in prior to putting it in my batter for whatever I'm like cooking. And breaking the egg up. Be careful not to put any eggshells in there. And this kind of helps with that. Just in case you actually do, you can get them out. All right. Eggs go in. There we go. And then I have cooking gloves. Okay. Just so that I like to use my hands to incorporate everything when I'm making salmon croquettes. So there are some bones that you'll find in the canned salmon croquette. I usually take a knife, or when I'm mixing, you can see me doing here, I'll take and smush them in between my fingers as much as possible. But I don't take them out. I just leave them in there. So don't be alarmed if you feel or see those bones. They're not like fish bones. They're more like, I don't know. They're like little round white, composites or whatever. So just get that incorporated here. And just keep on mixing it all well. I kind of like smush it in my fist a little bit. And just making sure all that it gets incorporated. The egg, the flour, the seasoning, and the cornmeal. Getting it blended really well like that. And then I'm taking my same bowl I used to crack the eggs in. And I'm going to patty my croquettes up. Or salmon cakes. Whatever you like to call them. But these are salmon croquettes. This is what I know them as. So just going to patty them. I'm doing like medium, small to medium patties. 1 can makes approximately 8 to 10 patties. And if these, you can do all kind of stuff with these guys. You can do sliders. You can make big patties and make them like, like sandwiches. You can also patty these up, put them in the freezer bag, and add just a little bit, like dip them. Once you're done patting them, take some cornmeal and like pat them in there both sides. Stick them in your freezer bag and stick them in the freezer. Make sure you put a date on it. And honey, you can have these out at any time. So You can definitely prep these and take them out the freezer and then cook them. You can also prep them and just stick them in the fridge if you're not going to cook them until later on. So, yeah. So, as you can see, I'm almost done pattying up the salmon croquettes here. Yep. Just keep smashing them. You smashing them down in the middle of your hand like that. It's a little bit of a process. Get you some music or get you a helper like I have in the back. You see my daughter. She's kind of helping with a little bit of the process as well. And we're almost done. Yep, I'm just gathering up my last little bit of ingredients and pattying it up. There we have it. They're all done. These are all done, guys. All patted up. You can put onions in them and scallion. I kind of forgot to, so I'll put them in the next batch, but that's pretty simple on how you can do salmon croquettes, guys. Really simple recipe. You don't need a lot of ingredients. You can use any kind of flour you like, any kind of cornmeal, guys. So you literally can use any kind of oil you want to. I normally use olive oil for my potatoes. I mean, we're out of it. So today we're using some canola oil. I used to be like super picky about the items that I purchase. I still try to purchase organic, clean as possible but since we're in an area that's so rural and it's kind of difficult for us to get to, not difficult, it's far. It's like an hour and 15 minutes to a Costco. So I kind of, use what I can to get close by. When I stockpile, I just kind of get stuff at random stores. Especially if I've used the item before and it like really works, I use it. So I'm going to show you how I do these potatoes and these salmon croquettes and enjoy. Hey guys, so I'm starting off with this copper skillet. If you do not have a copper skillet, trust me, you need one. I did not know how important these things were for the kitchen, but they are super essential. Again, not sponsored content, but I'm just trying to let y'all know that this lot, y'all, I want all of them, okay? So we're gonna turn this on to a medium heat. I prefer a gas stove, guys. Like, I really do. I love gas stoves. I don't know how I would cook without one, but anywho, I have some, yeah. I have some pure coconut oil. I have some onions here that are chopped. And oh, by the way, if you're wondering what kind of knives I have, I don't know, something from the television. Yeah, okay, MasterChef knives. These are MasterChef knives. From the show MasterChef, yeah, they have like their own line. So that's what I have. I have some chopped onions, so not diced, chopped. And the reason why I chop them and not dice them is because your scalloped potatoes, which is going to go in this pan here, they're going to be cooking for quite some time. And if you have diced onions, they're more than likely to get soft, like really soft, before your potatoes are completely done. So that's why I use chopped. Also, it's going to go some garlic in here. We do not have any green onions, so we'll improvise. And then in these babies, we'll get these going. And guys, as you can see, this copper skillet, I did not add that much oil. You really don't need that much oil because it's not going to stick. I just put it there so my potatoes can get extra crispy. So I'm gonna let this heat up for a little bit, and we're gonna add the onions, the garlic to this pan, and then we're just gonna put the potatoes on top. Okay guys, so I'm using 5-minute grits. This is all I could find in the store. So this is what we're using. So I bought an abundance of these because in the South, grits is a thing. So if you don't go to the store when they get their shipment, especially right now, you may not get any grits. So enough of that being said, this is what we're using this morning, and I'll show you how I make them super creamy. So our oil, I use a cast iron skillet to fry up any meat. to do like my grilled cheese sandwiches. Honey, if you don't have a cast iron skillet, you need a whooping. That's all I'm gonna say. If you are the main person that cooks, you need to get a cast iron skillet. Anywho, enough of that. So we're gonna drop our, what do you call these things? Salmon croquettes down in the oil, and it should sizzle. You don't want it to like smoke up, pop you. That means your oil is way too hot. So I'm just gonna strategically place these in here. I'm gonna cook 4 at a time and place them apart, just simply because I do not want one being overcooked, one being undercooked, or I don't want to bring the temperature of my oil down so low that they don't cook evenly. So if that helps you and that makes sense, that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna let these cook up, guys. You only want to turn any type of meat or that you're cooking, if you don't have a deep fryer, try to only turn it once. And when you brown it even on the side, some of the croquettes do not take long. Depending on the thickness of your croquette, you can just do like 8 minutes on one side and 8 minutes on the other. If they're super thin, it just doesn't take long, guys. So basically, the pan should be all warmed up here for our, what do you call these things? Scalloped potatoes, or if you want to say home fries, breakfast potatoes, however you're making them, this will be something like the process. So we're going to add our diced onions. All right, and then to this, we're gonna add about 2½ cloves of garlic. We're just gonna let this simmer for about a minute, minute and a half before we add our potatoes. So we have a strainer here, and like I said, the tips for keeping your potatoes from turning brown after you prep them is put them in water. So as many that you're going to use, we're going to use all of them, and you're just going to strain your potatoes. That's it. And you did use sea salt, so we're going to strain them, rinse them with a little bit of lukewarm water. That's all we're going to do, guys. And we're going to bring these potatoes on over here and add them directly on top of the onions, guys. I put them directly on top of my onions. I don't mix my onions in just yet. I let these sit, and we're going to season up the potatoes. Now, quick tip, you can season your salmon, but don't put the same seasonings here as you're going to put it here. So, and I'm eyeballing everything, but you can use a teaspoon or you can just use more, okay? This is fresh organic, not fresh. This is organic turmeric. So, and it doesn't really matter that it doesn't get sprinkled everywhere, because guess what? You're gonna mix it up in just a second here. So, turmeric, it's gonna give it that nice color and give it you those vitamins and nutrition that you need. This is ginger. And trust me, you need a little bit of ginger in your life. You're not even going to taste it when you eat it. It makes it a little tiny bit spicy, but you're not going to taste it. Okay, a little cumin. Look up these natural herbs, guys. They're good for you. Okay, and then a little coriander, just a dab. Okay, so you have that all in here, your seasoning. We're also gonna add like salt and stuff, but I like adding salt or sea salt or lemon pepper, things of that sort when they're close to being done. That's when they absorb it the most when you're frying something. So We're getting this all incorporated, and now at this point, again, you can see that I'm tossing the onions on top. And again, like I said, you don't have to overdo it with your seasonings because it's going to get all mixed in and incorporated. We're gonna add just a little bit of oregano just for some color, and again the nice little health benefits. And we're gonna add a little bit of thyme. If you don't have fresh, always keep you some dry herbs on. Our salmon croquettes are, as you can see, you see how they're brown around? It's time to flip. Okay? And then they started bubbling around the edges. All right, guys, so we're gonna flip our salmon croquettes. And I usually start with the one I put in first. See how perfectly golden brown that is? And we're gonna just start in that order if you can remember. I don't remember exactly, but kind of got it right. And like I said, you should only have to flip these bad boys once. And if you should hear it. You hear that? Okay, you should hear that, which means your salmon croquettes are cooked evenly on the outside and on the inside, and you have that nice crispiness to it, but it's not super hard. Okay, guys, so quick tip. If you want to keep them warm, if you want to make them ahead, use parchment paper and put it on a cookie sheet. And then drain your salmon croquettes on a plate. Use a paper towel. Put them on the parchment paper. And then we're gonna drain them on a plate. So throughout the process of your potatoes, pox about every 10 to 12 minutes. It may not take that long. If you don't have a copper skillet, use a regular skillet, but I recommend a copper skillet. You can still get the job done. You can use a cast iron skillet or just a non-stick skillet, a really good durable one. So you want to constantly stir these like 10 to 12 minutes. So this is the first. Well, actually, this is the second stir. This is the second stir. So at this point, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cover them after the second stir. So the first stir was when you have the onions in there, put the potatoes on top, let it simmer for a little bit, and then stir it. And then the second stir is to kind of make sure stuff is incorporated good and all the seasons are incorporated good. Now we're gonna cover it with a top. Okay, so quick tip. Not all copper pans come with a top, and you might not always have a top that's going to fit. So utilize what you have on hand, guys. And what I normally do is I push all my potatoes in the center, like so. So you necessarily don't have to have a top that fits. Your key is that you want to cover all your potatoes. And that's how I cook it, just like this. Just like that. And stir them occasionally, okay? I'm not gonna add any more oil. I'm not gonna add any water. Don't put no water in your potatoes, okay? They make their own water or moisture. So that's what I do. Okay, and then salmon croquettes. Again, same process. Same exact process. That one could have went a little longer. Sometimes you have that issue where on one side of the pan is getting a little hotter than the other. And that's how you fix that, especially with these being smaller. You just bring these on around like this. That's all you do. Ain't no fuss. And you see those are starting to bubble. And these are smaller, so. Okay, that's all you got. Salmon croquette. And you have that part that don't want to get done all the way on the side like that. Baby, just turn that thing on its side. Like, hey, just turn it on its side. Turn it on its side. Alright, so I have this on medium to high heat. What you want to do is let your water come to a complete boil. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to make little bubble pockets. I know you see that. Let me get a little closer. You see that? So it's starting to do its own thing, but I want to let it bring to a complete boil. Not where it's necessarily going crazy, but just a complete boil. Okay, and then I'm gonna add my grits. I'm gonna be using 1 cup of grits just because it's 5 of us. So we're using, excuse me, 1 cup of grits. We're gonna we approximately use about 4.5 cups of water just because I like to add extra. Again, the salt is optional. I just added a sprinkle. It was a sprinkle, y'all. Like a dash of salt. We're gonna cook this for about 5 to 7 minutes. In the process of cooking it, I'm gonna show you what I do to make it nice and creamy. There's no lumps in my grits. It's creamy, it's smooth, it's the thick consistency, not the thin, but it's still creamy and smooth. All right, guys, so I'm gonna help you out. This is very important. So our water has a complete boil. Like I said, you don't want it bubbling everywhere to where the water's going to evaporate. So this is the key. If you purchase butter in the store nowadays, it's going to show you how many teaspoons. Okay, so I'm going to use 3 teaspoons. Although I'm using 3 teaspoons, I'm gonna cut it in half, add my butter to the water slowly, let that melt. We're just gonna let that melt on its own. Now you may need to use a measuring cup, but I've been doing this for many years, so Ashley does not need to use a measuring cup. All right, so your other key component is a whisk. If you're not whisking your grits, something is wrong with you. Like, get you a whisk. I'm also gonna use 1/4 cup of milk. So I'm gonna add my grits. I'll get that whisk in good and add in my 1/4 cup of milk and the other half of my, so this is probably 1.5 teaspoons. So I'm gonna add, so the butter's pretty much good and done. I'm gonna add my cup of grits. That's pretty much, this is what you're gonna do for a while. We're just gonna continue to incorporate this in like this. It's boiling. We're just gonna let it boil just a little tiny bit so it can get thickened. You hear it, it's making that noise. Now we're gonna turn our fire down, all the way down to low to medium heat. And we're just gonna continue to go to town here. You see how it's slowly but surely thickening up? All right, so we're gonna add some milk. What I said, it's also on the bottle. Shake well, refrigerate after open, continue to 17 days, do not freeze. All right, it's boiling, don't worry about it. We're gonna get it to act right in just a minute here. Bring it down to a nice good boil. Okay, it looks soupy right now. Just wait. And you're just gonna continue to stir. And just continue to stir. You're continuously whisking, so you don't want your grits to become gritty. We're adding more butter, another teaspoon of butter, and we're just gonna mix until creamy. Again, my stove is not dirty. This is from cooking the salmon croquettes. We started off with a freshly cleaned stove. Don't worry, guys, I don't cook in a dirty kitchen. That makes any sense. So we're gonna stir it until it's thick enough to have like that porridge-like consistency, but not thin enough. We don't want soup. I'm just gonna keep going. This process normally takes me, even though the grits say quick grits in 5 minutes, I cook my grits about 10 to 15 minutes, just to be honest. After the 5 minutes that it's done. Before someone asks, we use our stainless steel ware is by Kitchen Craft West Bend. Oh, these were made in West Bend, Wisconsin. But if you Google these, they're not cheap, but I've had them for years. So when I say years, years. One of my children had actually tried to burn these. It didn't work by not paying attention, but it's kind of cool. I'm gonna show you how they work really quick. All these tops convert, so you can literally cook with this and it becomes a top, so which is really neat. So we have our grits and they're top. Again, like I said, you're gonna let them sit for 5 minutes, and then again, you see that we ain't got no lumps. But this is the thick consistency that you're looking for. Perfect grits every single time. Put the top on here like that. Okay, y'all, this is how my husband came down here talking about some good morning with these minion goggles. You ready to eat, babe?
Yes.
Were you ready to eat? Right, so this is my husband's plate, and he goes, let me have a normal size of grits, normal portion. I'm like, what's a normal portion for a man, babe? He don't know. But anyway, this is his grits. And then we have his salmon croquettes and potatoes. So very inexpensive breakfast that you can make for your family at any time of the day.
Huh? Girl, these grits is fire. Look at this. They don't get no more better than that. Look at that consistency. Those are grits. That's how grits supposed to be, like that. Boom. You see how it just dropped off the fork? You can hear it hit the pile of grits. Perfect. Lord Jesus, is a fire.
I'm a Texas Pete advocate, but I do like Louisiana, but I like Texas Pete better. So we do have both in our house because some of these people just think they just...
Louisiana in the hills.
There you have it. But I like to put that on my potatoes with extra lemon pepper. Yeah. Let me know if you're a ketchup type of person, because I know some people have put ketchup on there. Some people put mayonnaise on they and mustard on their potatoes. I don't know, but they do. I've seen it happen.
Mayonnaise and mustard.
But yeah, this is how the food turned out.
They were nasty.
That's organic sugar. If you're wondering why it's brown, I'm a sugar and butter type of girl on my grits. And like I said, unless it's savory. Unless I'm having a savory meal that's basically not breakfast.